Welcome to Cozy Noah Vibes, the podcast where we listen, relax, and drift off to sleep. I'm Noah, your host. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight, we have a historical sleepy story to share. We'll journey back to ancient Britain and meet Queen Boudicca, a legendary warrior queen. So, let's settle in for our story now and release any remnants of tension or energy from the day. Begin with some deep breaths, drawing the air in, feeling the chest and stomach rise, then gently easing the air back out as your diaphragm relaxes back down. Starting at the top of your head, let's scan over each area of your body, acknowledging any tension, discomfort, excess energy, or whatever you feel as we go. Continue to breathe deeply and let your focus rest on your head and face for a moment. If there's any tension, allow the calming depth of your breathing to bring a sense of relaxation to your head and face. Then scan down through the neck and into the shoulders. This is where most of us tend to hold a lot of stress and tension. So spend a moment here, cycling through a couple of deep breaths, allowing that tension to flow away with each exhale. Continue this process as you scan through your chest and your back. Take one more deep breath, letting go of tension in the whole top half of your body. Now, focus on your upper legs and allow a greater sense of ease in that area as you breathe. Scan over your knees and into the lower legs now, through the ankles and into the tops of your feet, and finally the soles of your feet. With one last deep breath in and back out, feel your whole body relax as you continue making your way to sleep. Let your imagination guide you on this adventure into the past. Our story begins late one night, standing outside a library. It's old, very old, and there's something magical about it. This is the Library of Time. Let's make our way and see what the library has in store for us tonight. Standing in front of these doors, you are enchanted by their rich woody aroma and smooth glossy finish. Each of the mahogany door frames is bordered by a pattern you recognize as a Celtic knot, having no end and no beginning. It's a beautiful design, even more so upon the dark wood. Curious, you reach out a hand and trace your fingers across the endless twists and turns. Together, the two doors meet to form a central picture, a figure carved into the mahogany. She is a beautiful and formidable woman with a crown upon her head and a mane of curly hair flowing wildly behind her. In one hand, she holds a spear, whilst the other is raised in proud defiance. There she stands, magnificent upon a glorious chariot, pulled by two stallions rearing up on their hind legs, trailing your fingers over them. You can almost hear them whinnying. Who is this remarkable woman? You wonder? What stories can be found behind her through these ancient doors? Keen to find out, you turn the brass handle. The heavy doors creak open softly. You find yourself on the threshold of a magnificent library. You pause for a moment and take in your surroundings, from the white marble floor to the stunning sunken panels of the sea-offered ceiling. The walls are made of stone, dotted with stained glass windows depicting various scenes. Daylight shines through them, bringing their panes to life in glorious colors that dance across the ground. You walk forwards now across the smooth floor, under the glow of an impressive chandelier dripping with crystals. In its soothing light, you notice two curving stairways with a golden plaque positioned between them. Curious, you step closer and read aloud the words upon the sign. Welcome to the Library of Time. Only the most curious of souls can find this place. Each and every book connects to a different time and place. While in the past, you will neither be seen nor heard. You cannot change the past. After all, you can only learn from it, and learn you shall. Can this be real? You wonder silently. With a smile upon your face, you head up the spiral staircase. Gradually, the second floor comes into view, revealing row after row of bookshelves separated by white marble columns. Each shelf is crowded with books, ancient tomes letting off a familiar scent that is both musky and magical. After casting your eyes around the room, you wander to the right, where a particular book has caught your attention. Its cover is forest green, with a spine bordered by that same Celtic knot you saw upon the door frame. There's no title on its thick spine, only a date, 60 CC. Pulling it down, you are surprised by the velvety softness of its cover and how light it is in your hand. You walk onwards now, past the rows of shelves and columns that touch the ceiling. You are drawn towards a cozy corner and the gentle glow of light radiating from it. Here you find a mound of cushions positioned directly beneath a skylight in the ceiling. Some of the cushions are the same forest green as the cover of your book. They glow like emeralds under the spotlight of the window. Others are patterned with bright green tartan and display a crisscross design of blues, whites, and reds. Take a seat amongst the cushions, relaxing into them and appreciating the soft woolen texture against your skin. Once you're comfortable, you turn your attention to the book, enjoying the crinkling sound of pages being turned. You begin to read. In 43 CE, the new Emperor Claudius looked to expand the mighty Roman Empire further. Keen to establish power and regard, he set his sights on the long sought-after island of Britain, then known as Britannia. It had been inhabited by indigenous tribes since the Iron Age, many of whom are thought to have migrated from what is now Europe. History will refer to these people collectively as the Celts, but in truth, there were great differences among the tribes. Each one had its own kingdom, dialect, customs, and traditions. Something that the Celts did share was a reputation for being fierce and fearless warriors. Yet still, they were no match for the power and might of the Roman legions. Upon Claudius' orders, 40,000 troops landed in the southeast of England. They defeated the eastern tribes with relative ease. From then on, many of the tribal leaders had few options other than to work with, rather than against, their Roman conquerors. One such leader was the king of the eastern Nicene tribe, who continued to rule as an independent ally of Rome. Like many of his neighbors in what is today Norfolk and Suffolk on the southeast coast, his people traded with the Romans and began laying the early foundations of a Romano-British culture, and there was peace, though sadly, it wasn't to last. When the king died, he left his kingdom to his two daughters and to the Roman emperor. His wife, Queen Boudicca, became sole ruler of the Iceni. In Celtic culture, it was possible for a woman to rise to such a rank. To the Romans, however, a woman would never be acknowledged or respected as a leader, and so they disregarded the peace treaties and annexed the kingdom, taking the Iceni by force. But underestimating Boudicca was a mistake. She proved to be a ferocious opponent and a skilled and capable leader. She persuaded local tribes to unite under her rule against their common enemy, the Romans. Fueled with the fire of vengeance, Boudicca mounted a powerful and organized uprising. With each move, she gained new followers, and by the time of her final battle, had amassed an army of 230. So ultimately, Boudicca and the Iceni were unable to stop the Roman conquest of Britain, though it would take another 40 years. She did teach them an important lesson, though one that shook the great and powerful empire to its core. As Roman statesman and historian Cassius Dio wrote, all this ruin was brought upon the Romans by a woman, a fact which in itself caused them the greatest shame. The name Boudicca, or Boudicca as she is sometimes called, comes from the Celtic word meaning victory, and despite her eventual defeat, her legacy seems as victorious as any person might hope for. To this day, she is known as the warrior queen who defied the greatest army in the world. You pause for a moment. What a story. You think to yourself, setting down the book by your side. You place your hands behind your head and look upwards into the atrium window. Your mind returns to the library door and its central figure, a crowned woman with a sword in one hand and the other arm raised, her wild hair flowing behind her. Just for a moment, you allow your eyes to close. A strange sensation takes hold of you. At first, it feels as if you're sinking deep into the soft evergreen cushions beneath you. And then, you are lighter. So light it's as if you are floating through time and space to a place that feels safe and familiar, and yet like nowhere you've ever been before. Opening your eyes, you see that same figure that was carved upon the library door, and so you assume you are still daydreaming. Only now, before your very eyes, something seems to be happening. The wood begins to take on color. The queen's face and body come to life, decorated with the bright blue of Celtic battle paint. Her hair is a fiery red, and her dress is a stunning shade of green tartan, not unlike the patterned pillows on the atrium floor. The chariot she stands upon is gold, and the horses that pull it are chestnut brown. You are utterly transfixed by the beauty and stature of this warrior queen and the magical transformation taking place before you. Looking down, you see you're standing on muddy ground. Around you are rolling hills and woodlands with a thick canopy of trees. The faint smell of fire and sound of a river rushing by reach you, along with the whinnying of horses. The queen's arm rises slowly, and your eyes follow her hand upwards to the sky. The clouds above shift and darken, swirling into a storm, thunder rumbling in the distance. Her other arm raises now, and lightning flashes from the sky. The warrior queen and her golden chariot are now before you in all their magnificent glory. You are not afraid, only captivated by her powerful presence. You feel as though you are in the presence of greatness, standing in the middle of history itself. You sense that you are not only witnessing the story of Boudicca but experiencing it. You see her leading her army into battle, hear the clash of swords, and feel the intensity of her passion and determination. Her legacy of defiance and strength envelops you, leaving an indelible mark on your heart and mind. Gradually, you find yourself back in the library, back where your journey began. You sit up from the cushions, the book still open to the same page, the image of Boudicca and her daughter smiling back at you. With a contented smile, you close the book, allowing yourself to drift into a deep, restful sleep, where dreams of ancient battles and legendary queens continue to unfold.